Want to win some free yarn of the newly released Cottino yarn? Continue watching and I'll tell you how. My name's Rachel Alford from Cozy Nooks Designs, and I have been dying to get my hands on the new yarn, Cottino yarn from Lion Brand Yarn. I finally got some of this yarn, so I'm so excited to be able to review it today and go over it with you. We're gonna do the full cozy yarn review, so we'll go over cost, offered colors, ease of use, and yarn feel. And then at the end, I'll give a final rating. So let's jump right in and talk about the cost of Cottino yarn. On Lion Brand Yarn's website, it's $9.99 a skein, and you can see that there's 296 yards per skein or 3.5 ounces. That feels a little bit more expensive for DK yarn in Lion Brand Yarn yarns, but let's do a cost comparison. So if you break down Cottino yarn into $9.99 divided by 3.5 ounces, you get $2.85 an ounce, which is a good way to measure how much length you get and the cost associated. One thing to note is that Cottino yarn is 55% cotton and 45% merino wool. And as far as I know, Lion Brand Yarn doesn't have a weight 3 yarn in this makeup, so I just try to find some comparable DK weight yarn that Lion Brand Yarn has to offer. So comparing some weight 3 yarn that Lion Brand Yarn does sell, Woolly's DK yarn is $2.33 an ounce. Granted, it is a different makeup, 80% acrylic, 20% wool, but that is cheaper than Cottino. 24/7 cotton DK yarn is $1.71 an ounce. This is 100% cotton, so there's no superwash merino in it, but that is significantly cheaper. Kaboo yarn, which is a fan favorite, also only $1.71 an ounce. This is 51% cotton, 49% rayon, so about the same amount of cotton percentage, but it has rayon from bamboo instead of superwash merino. And then lastly, the best bang for your buck for DK weight yarn is $1.20 an ounce, 60% acrylic, and then 40% nylon. So arguably the least like Cottino, but it is significantly cheaper. So if you look at the side-by-side comparison, you can see $2.85 an ounce. Cottino is the most expensive. It ranges from $1.65 more to 52 cents more based off of these 4 comparable yarns. So is the higher price worth it? Is the value there in this Cottino yarn or not? Let's continue going further and decide together. There are 24 colors in the Cottino line, which is a lot of colors for a Lion Brand Yarn launch. 2 of Wands is known for having excellent colorways that pair well together, and this is the same with the Cottino line. Beautiful shades that are perfect. I was happy to see all colors of the rainbow are represented. I didn't see any major holes in the colors offered. And there are even 3 different shades of brown, 2 different shades of gray, and an off-white. One thing to note with this yarn is that because of the fiber content being half cotton, half superwash merino, some of the colorways have a marling effect. It's like the cotton or the superwash merino didn't take the dye as well. So not all of them are like that, but some of them do. The pictures online do a good job showing which colorways have the lighter, darker yarn throughout the skein, so look to that if you're concerned about it. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of marling when knit or crocheted, so I'm interested to see how this works up, and I'm specifically going to work with dill to see how the marling looks when knit and crocheted. I really love the colors wisteria and powder, and I want to make wearables with them. So who knows, maybe I'll make some spring tops with these colors. I always like to try to do a yarn pull just to see how the skein is wound up, and I did not get lucky with this skein. Major yarn barf, but maybe I pulled it wrong. I could have just been too excited, so I did not look for the tail properly. I don't know, but it was a big mess. I knit 2 swatches with 2 different colorways to get a feel how it felt working with it. I used the color Tomato and Dill. First, for knitting with it, I used the recommended knitting needle size, which was a 4.5 millimeter. Knitting with Cottino yarn was no problem at all. I have no complaints. I also crocheted 2 swatches to see how it worked up while crocheting. I used a G 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, which is what the label recommended. I did have a few problems with yarn splitting, which is common for me with cotton yarn, so I had to focus where I was inserting my needle while doing the linen stitch for the swatch because I was splitting the yarn if I wasn't paying attention. I would not say the splitting was excessive. It's probably about a common amount for this type of yarn makeup. So overall, it was good to work with. Looking at the marling in the green swatch here, it really isn't in your face obnoxious like some marling can look. I would almost say that it looks more noticeable in the skein than on the swatch. So there's no problems for me on how the marling looks once worked up. The label says you can machine wash it, so I threw 2 out of the 4 swatches in the washing machine. They both came out looking completely fine. The label says to lay flat to dry, so I laid 1 flat to dry and then I threw the other one in the dryer just to see what would happen. And obviously the one that went in the dryer went wonky. Slanted weird and distorted the stitches. So I'm curious if maybe I only put it in the dryer for 10 minutes, how that would hold up better. But the one that did lay flat to dry turned out completely fine. Looks just like the non-wash crochet swatch, so laying it flat to dry is definitely the recommended way. You can noticeably feel a difference in the softness between the washed and non-washed swatches, but that's starting to get into the yarn feel territory, so let's just jump there. Before washing the swatches, I would describe the yarn as a normal cotton feeling yarn, a bit stiff and not the softest. After I washed it though, I would say it's almost like a completely different yarn. So incredibly soft and the drape is dreamlike. I can confidently say that this is next to skin friendly. I could wear this as a sweater or a cardigan and not have any itchiness or problems with it. Feels like it would be very breathable and comfortable. This does have the certification of Oeko-Tex Standard 100, which means that it is safe from over 1,000 harsh chemicals as well as allergens. And given that the design origin of this yarn was for 2 of 1's baby, I'm really glad to see this. This is top of the line for me for yarn feel. And my rating for Cottino yarn is 9 out of 10. This is a good yarn. The drape, the durability, the softness, all of it is so good. At first, I was a little bit worried about the softness of the yarn, about how stiff it was, but as soon as I washed it, basically a different yarn. And I was worried about the marling at first as well, but you can hardly even notice it once it's swatched up. I did knock 1 star off because it was splitting when I was crocheting with it, and if I'm being honest, the yarn barf as well, but is that even really fair to take off a point for that? I don't know. Could be user error on that one. So I had to concentrate while I was crocheting because of the splitting, but who knows, maybe once I get into the rhythm of it a bit more, like for a bigger project, maybe that would be a non-issue. Okay, so let's talk the giveaway. There will be 2 winners, a winner on YouTube and a winner on Instagram. To enter here on YouTube, you just need to subscribe and then drop a comment telling me that you subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, drop a comment saying you're already a subscriber. For a bonus entry here on YouTube, just drop another comment saying what you want to make with Cottino yarn. If you want to enter on Instagram, just go to my Instagram, Cozy Nooks Designs, and then you'll see the reel there on how to enter the giveaway. And that's my cozy yarn review for Cottino yarn. Thanks for joining me today. Hey friends, thanks for joining me on today's video. I have this video right here that I think you'll really enjoy, so go check it out and be sure to subscribe for more crochet and knit tutorials. My name is Rachel from Cozy Nooks Designs, and happy making!